Karoline Leavitt continued to make a joke out of her claim that this Trump administration is the most transparent administration in the history of the presidency when she was asked today about a paid dinner that billionaires and millionaires are having with Donald Trump tonight and why the Trump administration hasn't released the guest list for that dinner.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here. Garrett, go ahead.
Karoline, you guys are very proud of your record on transparency. I have two transparency-related questions for you.
Sure.
On the president's dinner tonight, will the White House commit to making a list of the attendees public so people can see who's paying for that kind of access to the president?
Well, as you know, Garrett, this question has been raised with the president. I have also addressed the dinner tonight. The president is attending it in his personal time. It is not a White House dinner. It's not taking place here at the White House. But certainly I can raise that question and try to get you an answer for it. Okay,
and on the Qatari aircraft, the Air Force has said they're going to classify all the information about the work that has to get done to bring it up to snuff to be Air Force One. Previous Air Force One contracts, including the one that the president entered into in 2018, are public. That's available knowledge. Will the White House commit to releasing who's doing that work and the cost of that work? I understand that some elements might be classified about specific systems, but will you commit to releasing that basic information so people can see ultimately what this costs?
Well, Garrett, as you know, that's a question for the Department of Defense and the United States Air Force, who is accepting this jet as part of their fleet.
Declassify anything he wants.
Well, you'll have to ask the Department of Defense and the United States Air Force, who is accepting this jet as part of its fleet. Peter.
Karoline Leavitt says that it's personal time for Donald Trump, and so they don't really have to release the guests. What a joke. Imagine if Karine Jean-Pierre, President Biden's White House press secretary, would have tried this excuse for a dinner that Biden was having with a bunch of rich people paying for the dinner. Oh, well, it's his personal time. It's a personal dinner. He's still the president. And actually, another reporter made that point to the White House press secretary.
Following up on the dinner tonight, you mentioned this is not a White House dinner, but the president is always the president, and the Trump family is making money off of this. So can you just explain, how is this not the president using the office to enrich himself?
All of the president's assets are in a blind trust, which is managed by his children, and I would argue one of the many reasons that the American people reelected this president back to this office is because he was a very successful businessman before giving it up to publicly serve our country.
It's completely pathetic how for years Donald Trump dragged Hunter Biden's name through the mud. And then Karoline says here that, oh, well, the Trump kids are managing a blind trust. So, that should put your mind at ease. Are you kidding me? If you know anything about Trump's kids, they're moronic. They're completely inept. They aren't managing the blind trust. They are going through Donald Trump. Like they don't have contact with Donald Trump. You think Donald Trump, the guy who wants to control everything, is letting Donald Jr. and Eric control his money? Oh, I doubt it. In name only, really. And again, it just goes back to the whole line about them being the most transparent White House in the history of the presidency. A complete joke. Now, those two clips weren't the only highlights of just how corrupt Karoline Leavitt and Donald Trump are. Yamiche Alcindor also grilled Karoline Leavitt on why Donald Trump shared a conspiracy video with the South African president during a meeting at the White House.
It showed a video that he said showed more than 1,000 burial sites of white South Africans that he said were murdered. We know that that was not true and that the video wasn't showing that. So I wonder, why did the president choose to show that? It's not true. The video was showing a burial site. It is unsubstantiated that that's the case.
No, it is true that video showed the crosses that represent
what the president claimed.
The video showed images of crosses in South Africa about white farmers who have been killed and politically persecuted because of the color of their skin.
The president
and those crosses are representing their lives. Those crosses are representing their lives in the fact that they are now dead and their government did nothing about it. Are you disputing that there's no...
The fact that the video showed what the president claimed it showed, because it did not show that. But even more, what I'm asking you is who at the White House...
it did show that. It showed white crosses representing people who have perished because of racial persecution.
The videos that the president shows, and what protocols are in place when there's unsubstantiated information being put out for the world and world leaders to show.
What's unsubstantiated about the video? The video shows crosses that represent the dead bodies of people who were racially persecuted by their government. In fact, the Associated Press, of all places, has a picture of that very monument, and the caption from the Associated Press is, "Each cross marks a white farmer who has been killed in a farm murder." So it is substantiated, not just by that video and the physical evidence that everybody saw on display in the Oval Office, but also by another outlet in this room, the Associated Press. So you should take it up with them if you believe the claim is unsubstantiated. And that's a ridiculous line of questioning.
Karoline Leavitt there saying that the Associated Press should be trusted on this matter. This is the same Associated Press who Karoline Leavitt kicked out of the White House press corps because they wouldn't relabel the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America. I mean, what a circus. Heads are just spinning as Karoline Leavitt tries to find her way through the swamp that is Donald Trump's lies and corruptions. I mean, we have a list of things that we need to investigate when it comes to Trump's second term, and we're only a few months in, but you can add these three things to it. It's the Qatari jet. It's him sharing lie-filled conspiracy videos with the South African president. It's him having dinners with paid guests who they're not releasing the guest list for. The list goes on and on and on. In the comments, leave your ideas for what Democrats need to investigate once they take back control of the House and Senate after the midterm elections, because there is so much more. You've got Pete Hegseth sharing war plans on Signal with journalists. You've got Donald Trump refusing to listen to federal court orders. There is so much, and we're only a few months in. Now, I've made other videos about Karoline Leavitt's and Republicans and Donald Trump's personal attacks against people who are confronting them with their lies and their conspiracies that they're sharing. I made a video yesterday about Lee Zeldin trying to personally attack Adam Schiff and Sheldon Whitehouse, two senators who were grilling him about his dismantling of the EPA. I made a video the day before that about Marco Rubio facing off with Senator Chris Van Hollen, all because Van Hollen told him that he wishes he had never voted to confirm him as Secretary of State and criticized his job performance. So this is, again, when you're in an administration that doesn't really have any plans and your whole strategy is to just attack Democrats and the previous administration, that's when you get moments like this where you have to attack people personally. It is a sign of weakness. It is horrendous coming from this White House. And again, it's just kind of it's one thing in a long line of things where they have made a mockery out of the White House. But let me know what your reflections are of these videos in the comments below. Thanks for watching. My name is Brendan Plank with Reflect Politics. Hope to see you in the next video.